building or wrapping the part where the spaceship and taikonaut stay in will reveal last, but we will let you know when that happens. Now here we have also confirmed with experts here from different systems, and they've told us throughout the night and until now, everything is in good condition, everything is in good order, and they have every reason to expect the mission to go as planned and smoothly. We've talked to people with the rocket system, and experts there say the rocket has actually been ready around a week ago when it's rolled out, and over the past week, of course, up until now, they've been checking, they've been rechecking the system to make sure everything is okay. And the rocket engineer told us if there's one thing we want to know about the Long March-2F carrier rocket that's sending the taikonauts to space, is that this model of rocket is reliable, it's safe. So nothing to worry about that. And it's the same way with the spaceship system. Engineers with the Shenzhou spaceship system have also been telling us they also have been checking and rechecking the condition and status of the spaceship in the last few days until now, and many of them have been working here starting in the middle of the night, and around 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they have loaded some of the most time-sensitive package inside the spaceship. That's including some biological material, some experimental material that's expected to help maybe in the future contribute to cancer treatment and drug development. But of course, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves right now. As you said, the Shenzhou-17 crew has just departed from the Yuanmengyuan Square, and they should be something like 30 minutes away from the launch tower. We will let you know when they arrive and anything new happens here. Back to you, Zhangshi.
So we're watching where they're going, so we know exactly where they are. But thank you so much for that update. We're watching every step of the way. That short ride from Yuanmengyuan
is a critical part of today's launch. And Long March-2F is the only human-rated launch vehicle of China today. In the future, we will have a derivative of the Long March-10, because Long March-10 have two versions. The smaller version will also be, yes?
I think they're pulling over now. They're pulling over now to the pad. And if you're just joining us here on CGTN, this is our special coverage on the Shenzhou-17 mission with 3 taikonauts getting ready to be lifted off into space. The countdown you see on the right bottom corner of the screen is a countdown until liftoff. In about 2.5 hours' time, the liftoff will happen. We'll be bringing you comprehensive coverage of the mission today. A beautiful view of the launch complex here, as Professor Yang was talking about. The rotational platforms are still closed. They will open later when the taikonauts have entered the cabin.
And the reason is that because the Long March-2F is the only human-rated launch vehicle of China, the most important feature is that it has an emergency escape system. This includes emergency escape valve on its top. So when the side hatch of the orbital module has already been closed, so we must activate the emergency escape system to ensure the safety of our astronauts, especially after fueling. Because you know that we have more than 400 tons of propellants to pour into the tanks of the launch vehicle. So if anything wrong happens, not only the ground type can, you know that in the launch complex we have a very big pipe, very big pipe. With this help, the ground team can go through the pipe to the underground cabin to protect themselves. But for the astronaut, because they were already inside the cabin, and they can only use the emergency escape system.
Early in the day.
Very, very early.
This is very early.
Very early.
We're almost 9 a.m. now, Beijing time.
Now the ground staff help the what called the 03, the Jiang Xinlin, into the cabin. You may notice with the help, and also very carefully protect his helmet.
So the first taikonaut is now
first
entering
enter. This is
module.
the camera inside the orbital module.
The orbital module, and he will slide down to the return capsule.
Yes, the ground team help him to go down to the re-entry capsule. You can see the hatch is very small.
The hatch is very small. They have to be very careful because there's a lot of cargo. There's a lot of sensitive equipment. These are their custom-made seats. The commander will be sitting in the middle. The other two taikonauts by his side. We're still seeing that trail of one veteran plus two new taikonauts. And
new recruitment.
Yes, and they belong to two generations of Chinese taikonauts, so, the second and third batch of Chinese taikonauts.
So Mr. Jiang Xinlin sit in the seat closest to the camera.
Closest to the camera. That's
so because he is 03.
So he's 03 on this mission, closest to the camera, beside the commander.
No, the next one will be Mr. Tang Shengjie.
Mr. Tang Shengjie is another taikonaut, a new taikonaut embarking on this journey. This is his first mission as well.
So Mr. Tang Shengjie is 02, and he also.
Tang Shengjie is 02 of the mission.
Yeah.
We just saw 03 already entered.
Okay. So first they from the side hatch they enter the orbital module and then go down to the re-entry capsule. And he is 02, so he has a very special task. You know that during the re-entry after touchdown, he has the responsibility to cut off the parachute. So this is a task.
Is it always 02 who cuts?
Always 02,
okay,
because the button is very close to him.
Got it. It doesn't matter how the cabin landed, in what angle, in what way.
Yeah,
the cabin landed is always 02.
They must cut it off because maybe the wind will be very strong and it will be very dangerous if they did not cut down the parachute. Okay. So you can see he is in the seat the most farthest to the camera.
He's still making his way. I think he's still adjusting.
Yeah.
They're talking to the ground staff. Yeah.
So you may notice that
what is this? Can we tell? It's
there are all kinds of issues they need to handle, and also many confirmation works for them. Now the last one will be the commander.
Yes, this is the orbital module. This is the return capsule.
The button I mentioned is just close to him, just on the side of the hatch. On the side of the cabin, to cut off the parachute. And the last one will be the commander, Tang Hongbo.
This is the commander, Tang Hongbo. He's kind of a legend himself. He will be the first taikonaut to return, actually, to the Tiangong space station. And he set a record of the shortest interval between
two flight missions.
Manned flight missions. So he's already a legend.
So as I mentioned, the second batch of astronauts, although they only have 7 members, but they will play a major role in this operation and application and development phase.
And the third batch has a lot more taikonauts, as you mentioned, than the second batch. What happens to the people who didn't get selected?
Well, you know that we also have a backup crew just in this Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center.
For sure.
The backup crew of the Shenzhou-17. I should also emphasize that it is also a great honor to be the backup crew.
Absolutely.
Still, they have very high score.
You have to be outstanding to be selected to be in the third batch in the first place. And even if you didn't make the mission, even if you didn't make Shenzhou-17, you're still a backup taikonaut. That's a great honor in itself.
You know that every fighter pilot are very outstanding personnel, and these astronauts selected are even more outstanding fighter pilots. So you can see how perfect they are.
Well, for Mr. Tang, he already created his legend in his whole life career, and now he's really re-entering this cabinet, and it shows that, his dedication to the type of the work instead of creating his own ego. And this is really reflective of the Chinese value. For some people, they can really boast for their whole life. Writing biographies, having interviews, etc. That's already enough for
you can sit on this achievement.
Trip.
You can dwell on this achievement for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, how many astronauts in the world do we have? How many taikonauts do we have? I mean, this is the achievement of a lifetime for sure. And this year, 2023, also marks 20 years since China's first taikonaut.
And also the second
was
entry
sent
for
into
him
space.
is also telling the world that it is not really highly interested to the astronauts, by traveling. So therefore, he quickly recovered from all possible the damage to the health, and now he's back on track. So therefore, it also gave their relatives and their families a sort of assurance that they are still in a very healthy condition, and they turn out to be superb heroes.
Professors, do you think Mr. Yang Liwei, China's first taikonaut, is watching this also?
Yes, absolutely.
I believe so.
Yang Liwei.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So
20
years
20th
ago.
anniversary.
He also created
a great
history,
year.
and
Absolutely.
now there are young successors with more of their vigor and passion, and also with a far better preparedness after 20 years of experience.
And this is the youngest crew we've seen so far, with an average age of 39 years old. Of course, Ms.
经华山请讲。华山1小时准备完毕，报告完毕。北京明白。我是北京曙光，请讲。北京明白。我是北京长城，请讲。北京明白。我是北京天宫，请讲。北京明白。我是北京银河，请讲。北京明白。我是北京天舟，请讲。北京明白。
The lower capability than the Falcon 9, But the Long March 5B launch vehicle, the capability is greater than the Falcon 9 currently used by the SpaceX. But you know that, of course, the Falcon 9 is a human-rated launch vehicle. It can launch the crewed Dragon spaceship. So from the view of human-rated launch vehicle, it is bigger and have greater capability than the Long March-2F launch vehicle. But you know, until now, the India do not have a human-rated launch vehicle because all their tests are unmanned. They will plan their first maiden flight of their future manned spaceship Gagayan maybe within this year or the next year. So they must conduct, as formally announced by my colleague in International Astronautical Federation, the chairman of the ISRO, Mr. Dr. Samanas. So they will first conduct maybe 3 to 4 manned flights of the Gagayan manned spaceship, and then conduct the first crewed mission. And in the future, they also have a plan to have their own space station and the human missions to the moon.
Is the Long March rocket series still developing, still evolving? What more functions, how much more reliability and capabilities can we expect to be developed along the Long March series?
Before answering this question, let's look at the video. We can see that this is also a camera. This is a video from a camera mounted on the rotational platforms. So you can see that the distance is increasing with the launch vehicle. And as I mentioned, you can see that in the yellow ones, you can see some small arms still attached to the launch vehicle because we still have pipes and cables connected to the launch vehicle with these small arms. And so finally, all the platform will be opened. So let's continue our discussion. As you asked, yes, of course, although you know that Long March 2F is the only human-rated launch vehicle of China, but still we are now developing the new versions. You see that according to Mr. Zhang Hailian, the Deputy Chief Designer of China Manned Space Program, during the forum just in July this year, he introduced the detailed plan of China's human missions to the moon. And during this mission, the major role will comes from the Long March 10 launch vehicle. It is a heavy launch vehicle in China. The capability is 27 tons to the lunar transfer orbit. You know that, as we discussed, the most powerful launch vehicle of China is Long March 5. And the capability of Long March F is about 8.3 tons to lunar transfer orbit, which means that it can bring an object about 8.3 tons to go to the moon. But you know, of course, it is not big enough to conducting from via the.
But they're not able to talk to them,
Tianlian.
right? They're not be able to give them just a pep talk to encourage them or anything like that.
That depends what they will send to them.
Okay.
No, already launched all the detachment of the arms. holding.
Okay, the arms are detached.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see
30 seconds.
in the station. They are watching.
Well, we just saw some banners. Welcome, teammates. 20 seconds. Professor Liu is getting nervous. I can feel that. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Over the past 2 decades, since China sent its first taikonaut,
金山 CCTV 雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常。
11 manned missions. This is the 12th mission, carrying the youngest ever Shenzhou crew since the construction of China's International Space Station.
So this vehicle comes from the camera, what I mentioned, mounted on the second stage of the rocket and looking backwards, so we can see the 2 boosters.
These cameras are so important. They bring us a real-time scenario, real-time monitoring of what is going on with the rocket to see its trajectory and to really visualize how that flight is going. I think it's super
so
important.
I believe at this moment you can see the direction has already changed. So the pitch over has already been successfully conducted, and the next critical step will be the jettisoning of the emergency escape tower.
And how much further into the flight will that happen? The jettisoning of the escape tower?
Escape tower. About 100 seconds also.
100 seconds. That's about a minute 40 seconds into the flight. We could see the separation, the jettisoning of the emergency escape tower.
This, I believe at this moment it's already supersonic and already past what we call the max Q, which means the maximum aerodynamic forces to the launch vehicle.
I mean, this is something the taikonauts would have experienced in their training also.
Okay,
Yes,
jettisoned.
Okay, the escape tower has now been jettisoned.
And the next critical step will be the separation of the 4 boosters. About 2 minutes.
About 2 minutes into the
金山
flight, we will
USB
see
雷达跟踪正常，
boosters come
遥测信号
off.
正常。
We also heard voice that all the ground stations tracking very normally, either the optical
双程
telescopes and
光
the
学
readers.
雷达跟踪正常。
I love hearing them. I love hearing them record that everything is going on smoothly, normally. They have a very calming, very soothing voice.
Great.
The boosters have come off.
So,
4 boosters.
Good.
Oh, and also the first stage is separated.
The first stage has been separated.
Yeah. We have a camera on the rear part of the second stage to monitor the working of the main engine of the second stage. We have one main engine with a thrust about 80 tons, and also 4 vernier engines to change the attitude of the launch vehicle. So we can see the optical images based on the ground telescope. This is what I mentioned, the video from the camera mounted on the rear part of the second stage. We can see the big thrust is the main engine. And this is the engine mounted inside the payload fairing. So the next step will be the separation of the payload fairings.
The separation of the payload fairing will be
Great,
the
great.
yes, that's
Separated.
separation.
Okay.
Now it's in the sunlight.
抛种流道。
The astronauts inside the cabin can see the sunlight through the 2 windows.
北京明白。
I mean, some of their predecessors used to, play with pens once they reach zero gravity.
And
So
the
you can
next
see-
step, after several minutes, will be the shutdown of the main engine. But still, the 4 vernier engine will be still continue working to adjust it to make sure that it's precise enough.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that the taikonauts are doing fine. They seem to be doing okay in their seats.
That's the Shenzhou-17 flying eastwards. Along its trajectory, we have the Weinan, exactly.
Yeah.
Weinan ground station in Shanxi province, and also we have the Taiyuan Satellite Launch Center. We also
就
have a
收
ground
控台解
station.
锁。
And so this stage will probably take a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. And also you can see the background is the horizon of the Earth, very bright. They're already outside the atmosphere.
I mean, all of these cameras, they withstand such high temperature. They work magic.
Well, that still there is a interval between the camera and the rocket engine, so it's not in the